Alright, hey everyone. Welcome to my first stream on here. So, my plan is to get through as many of these books as possible. I'll talk a little bit about each one if I can. There's going to be a lot of them I'm not going to remember because I read a lot of these. Obviously, these are all from 2024. So, I may not remember some of them. So, I have a tier right here called I Read This. Then that's where I'm going to put books where I'm like, oh, I don't remember reading that at all. Because there's already a few books I'm looking through here, and I'm like, I don't remember you. So, yeah. So if I can't get through all the books today, because I need to get off at around 5-ish. That's 2 hours. That should be enough time, but I'm not sure. Um, so if it's not long enough, then I'm going to stream again on Wednesday at around the same time at 3 p.m. and I'll get through the rest of then. So let's go ahead and get started. So these are no order at all. I don't understand how they got in this order because I uploaded them in order of when I read them and they somehow got in the order all wonky. So I'm not going to go through and reorganize these. That is not worth my time, quite frankly. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start here and just go through them, I think. So let's go ahead and start. Um, Also, since this is a new stream, this is the first time using Streamlabs, which I set up all by myself. So proud of me. If there's anything that's like weird or doesn't sound right or you can't hear me, please let me know because this is all new. This is literally like my first real stream with this stuff, so it could be the volume's wrong or something. I don't know. So, okay, let's now actually get started. Okay, so this one is, let's see, Author's Guide to Murder. Um, meh, meh. It was pretty good. I didn't think the characters were very likable, and the the person who ended up being the murderer, I thought was there was no way for you to be able to tell and figure out who the murderer was, like as the reader. It was there was equal amount of evidence for several people, and it was just basically like picking the right one. If that makes sense. Um, Actually, the more that I'm thinking about that, was really annoying. I'm gonna put that down to not my cup of tea. Like I can see someone enjoying this, not me really, but it was all right. Next is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I love this one. I love it. I have since like thought about it, and like the world building doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like how the politics and stuff work. And when I'm reading in the moment while I'm reading it, I'm like, kicking my feet, giggling, and loving the love story so much that I don't care that the politics in the world makes no sense whatsoever. But like, it's one of those things where like after you're done reading it, you think about it, and you're like, wait a minute, that didn't make any sense. But it was a really cute book, and I really enjoyed it while I was reading it. I rated it 5 stars, but I think I went back after like letting it sink in, and thinking about it. I was like, you know what? That world building made no sense. I'm sorry I'm sniffling and like probably gonna have to get up and blow my nose a few times. I have a cold still. I'm feeling a little bit better. My throat is finally like feeling a little bit better, and I can talk again, which is really nice. So that's another reason I may have to end the stream early, is if like my throat gets too sore. All right, so next one is Fangirl Down. This is another book where like as I was reading it, I really liked it a lot, and then after I was done reading it, I was like, wait, why did she do this? Or wait, why did he do that? That doesn't make really sense. But like in the moment, you don't care. But I did like it a lot. So this was the opposite problem. This is my roommate is a vampire. In the moment, I was like, this is kind of weird. What? This is fun, but what? After I like sat on it and read the second book in the series, I was like, holy crap, I like that a lot more than I remember, or I thought I would. But I did really like that one a lot. I like the second book better, which I was not thinking I would. Like, I really didn't think I would, because the second book is about the male main character's best friend named Reggie, who I really did not like in this book. I did not like him at all, but in his book, I liked him a lot more. So this one is the Passion of the Purple Plumera. Um, Now this series I read really fast with my mom, so this is gonna be a lot of I read this. Um, this is a good one. It's a series about it's a crazy series. It's a series where this historian in modern day, well, modern day for them, it's actually early 2000s because this series is pretty old. And she is researching the Scarlet Pimpernel and all of the spies in his network, which in their universe are real. He's not actually real. Um, I I first heard about the series when I was in high school, and I had lived for a summer in Germany. And the family I was staying with, the mom had borrowed the first book from the library as an audiobook for us to listen to while we took a day trip or a week trip to Czech Republic. And so it was like a 5 hour drive or something like that. It wasn't like a super hour long, like a super drive or anything like that. So we were able to listen to the whole book. Now, granted, she did not know that it was a bodice ripper. And so she was frantically trying to fast forward through big chunks of it and everything like that. But I really liked the first book a lot, which is on here somewhere. And I loved it. But we didn't get to listen to the whole thing. And years later, doodaloo, 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 um, little time thing for showing my age there, Wayne's World and all. But anyway, so years later, I'm in Illinois with my now husband, and we're living up there while he's in grad school. And I really, really want that book. I really want something nostalgic because I was pretty lonely up in Illinois because I didn't know anyone. And and I remember describing the first book in the series to the librarian there. And Lord, y'all, when I say I was vague, I could not have been more vague because I couldn't remember hardly anything. Because it's been like 10 years at that point since I like read part of this book. Like I had no idea how it ended. I couldn't remember much. And the librarian, the godsend that she was, found the book very easily somehow. Still think that's a miracle. And I found the book, and not only did I find that book, I found out that it was part of an ongoing 13 book series. So book jackpot right there. And I've got the book. I got the first one, which is, where is it on here? It's on here somewhere. I know they're all mixed in, like I said. And so I read them all. I own them all. Love them. I've reread them a few times over. Some of them more than others. Um, and like I read them with my mom this in 2024. Because we wanted to do a reading challenge and we couldn't really decide on anything else. So I'm reading these again because the newest book recently came out, and or not recently, it had been like quite a while, but I hadn't read it yet. But I wanted to refresh my memory of everything that had been happening because at that point I hadn't read them in a couple of years. And so she read them all with me, and she loved them too. And so it's been like a really nice bonding thing. So that's my whole thing for that book series. Because there's like 13 books in that series, and they're all in here. So, okay. So funny story about Emily Henry. I really like this one. I didn't love it, but I really like this one a lot. I can't remember what star rating I gave it. 90% of these I can't remember what star rating I gave them. Like, unless it was a 5 star, I really don't remember. Okay, so here's Yellowface. This one I read in a day. I really, really loved it while I was reading it, but it was one of those things where it's like, after I let it sink in and thought about it, I was like, did I love it? Or was I bored that day? And it was a pretty short book, so I was able to read it in the afternoon. I have figured out that if I read a book really quickly, I'm bound to give it a higher star rating than I normally would. That if I had like paced myself with it, I don't know why. I'm also the same way with audiobooks. If I listen to the audiobook of it, it's guaranteed problem like more than likely to get at least a star higher than it would be if I had read it on my own. I don't know why I'm that I don't know why I'm that way. I just am. Okay, so here is one of the Bridgerton books. This is Sir Philip with Love. This is Eloise's book. I did not like this one. I did not think her main guy, Philip, obviously, I didn't think he was very likable. I thought he was actually kind of creepy and weird, and I did not like him. And I didn't think they didn't seem like they were really in love. And also, Eloise acts really out of character in this book. It's very strange. Now, granted, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, okay, was she acting out of character for book Eloise or for TV show Eloise? Because I will admit, while reading them, I kind of would get them mixed up because they all act differently in the books than they do in the TV show, obviously. Because there's a lot of things that, like, you can do on TV shows that you really can't really portray well in a book, and vice versa. And so, that's why a lot of book adaptations of TV shows and movies and stuff are like, they get changed up a little bit. But I did not like this one. My mom didn't like this one very much either. I don't know if she had the same reasons or not as me though. And then romantic comedy, I like this one. I thought it was pretty good. I think I need a slot between like a lot and meh, because I liked it. I didn't like it a lot, but it wasn't meh. So I think I'm gonna add another one. Let's see, add a row below. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one here. This one is basically Snell in a novel. I liked it. Like I said, I think the person who wrote it actually worked at SNL or something. I don't know. But it was a really cute book. I liked it. Yeah. It's about a girl or a woman who is a writer for SNL, and she falls in love with the celebrity host. And it talks a lot about how, like, because I think this book was written or came out back when, Pete Davidson was going out with everyone. And then Colin Jost was with Scarlett Johansson. I mean, they're still together. Yeah. So it was like kind of like there were characters in the book. They're like, okay, that's clearly supposed to be Pete Davidson. Oh, that's clearly supposed to be Colin Jost, or whatever. But it was a cute book. It did make me want to, like, I did rewatch a lot of SNL after reading that, just to see, like, because some of the stories they're so obviously that's supposed to be Pete Davidson, that's supposed to be Colin Jost. You're kind of like want to see what the real thing was like. Okay, so next one is Just Stab Me Now. I don't remember if I liked it or if I liked it a lot. I can't remember. I want to say I liked it because I know it took me a long time to get through it because of the way it's written. So the way that it's written based off of a TikTok video series that this woman did about a author trying to write a like a enemies to lovers historical fiction book. And she has actual conversations with her heroine and everything like that. It's kind of the way it's kind of confusing. The way not like the way it's written. It's no fault of the way it's written. I don't think. I think the issue is that it's a video concept that works really well in video because I absolutely love and was obsessed with the TikTok series. However, like it's hard to make that same magic on paper. It's very hard to explain. I did like the book. I remember that now. I know I at least liked it. I love the concept. I loved the story. But the way it's written was kind of hard to visualize. Like, if I hadn't watched the TikTok series, I don't think I would have liked that book. I don't think that would have been able to get through, like, I don't know. I'm not good at explaining this stuff. Because, like, you don't understand, like, okay, is this a magical realism? Is it all in her head? Like, it's not explained well enough, I don't think. But it was a fun read, and I did enjoy it. So it will go there. Okay, Mary Ever After. I think that's that Tessa Bailey one. Meh. This whole series, the highest is probably gonna get meh. I have such buyer remorse for this set. I'm so glad I got them when they were like on steep sale. So I did a video where I listened to holiday novels and stuff while I worked on Christmas gifts and stuff I was making for people. And so I listened to most of these. I ended up DNFing the rest of the series, I think. No, I didn't. I ended up go ahead and trudging through because of I paid for it and I'm going to listen to them. But this one, and then I think there was another one. There's another one. I can't remember which one it was right now. Oh, Cruel Winter with You. That's the other one. Where like, okay, these are okay. Um, this is just it's a novella, so there's really not able to like flesh out anything that's going on or any of the characters. And a romance novel novella, it's really hard to not make it insta love. And Tessa Bailey, from what I understand, from what little I've read of her stuff, seems to really like the insta love trope, and I feel like it's better for a full length novel than a novella. Like, I really wish she had taken these characters and this story and done this as a full novel. I think it would have been really fun and would have fleshed out the characters a lot better because I really liked the characters in this one. But it was just handicapped by how short it was, I guess. This is The Secret Life of Booksellers and Librarians. I liked this one a lot. I like that one a lot. It's just a bunch of little snippets written in from different booksellers and librarians talking about the love of reading. And some of them are just really sweet, and some of them are really sad, and some of them are really happy, and some of them are really funny. And it was just, I really liked that. It was a nice collection of like little short stories. And so it was really easy to just pick up, read a few of them when you had like a few minutes. It was really nice. And then A Touch of Darkness. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling. It was alright. Um, it was alright. I ended up not reading the rest of the series, which I feel like is telling because I think there's quite a few books and they're all in my library. I could easily read them. I was just like, it's like, it was alright. And this is the second book in the series I was talking about of like the Pink Carnation series that I read from high school. I like this one. This is the second book in the series about the best friend of the main characters in the first one. I like that one. That's one of my favorite ones in the series, I think. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna go with I like that one a lot because the main male character in this one is Miles, and I like him a lot. So let's see. This one is Morbidly Yours, obsessed. Just straight up to the top, obsessed. I absolutely love this series. I'm currently reading the second book in the series right now because I have the arc from the author, and I just I love it. I love her writing. I love the world that she has going in this series. I'm excited for the third book and everything like that. Callum, I don't know. It's hard to pronounce that name for me, especially when my cold does not make it easier. He is one of my top book boyfriends. I absolutely love him. He is a very shy mortician in Ireland who has a stutter, and he's adorable. He is precious, and he's to be protected. I love him. And then next is Julia Quinn's Just Like Heaven. I liked this one. This is one of the spin-off series for the Bridgerton series. It's based off of, so it is very much a spinoff. So in the Bridgerton world, there's a family called Smith or something like that. It's hard to say, especially with my cold. That's gonna be a running thing. Smythe Smith girls, and they are all these sisters and cousins who put on a musicale every year. That's like the start of the season in Bridgerton, and it is a running joke that they none of them can play, and they're all really bad at it. And it's kind of like just mentioned in the Bridgerton books, like they really aren't fully fleshed characters. Like I don't think they even have names in the main books. Um, they might have a few named in the later books. I think they're named in Gregory's book. I think one of them is named and it has like maybe a line or two in Gregory's book because at that point the spin-off series has started, but not in any of the earlier ones. And yeah, and so this is from the series, the first one of the series of the spin-off for the four girls that are in that musicale every year. And I liked this one. Um, it was like brother's best friend kind of thing, and I'm like, it's the first time I really read anything with that trope, and I really liked it. See, this one is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I think is how you pronounce his name. I liked it. Um, I think about it more than I thought it would, maybe because of this is like my introduction to Norse mythology. Like, yeah, like I knew the big things. Like I know who Thor is, I know who Odin is, and all that kind of stuff. But like a majority of, well, I'm saying majority, nearly all of my knowledge of Norse mythology came from Marvel Comics, which is very wrong, as you can imagine. Um, very, very different. And so this was sort of like correcting a little bit of what I thought about Norse mythology. I did go and research a little bit on my own just to further educate myself on it because it was fascinating. Because I love Greek mythology, as you can tell from the Persephone and Hades retelling. I'd read this after that, I think, because of I was like, okay, if I kind of like this retelling. Maybe I'll like more that's a little more of the actual story told like a story by an author. So I did like it. The author has had some allegations and stuff like that since then, though. Now this one is hard to read. What is this one? On the Way to the Wedding. That's Gregory's story. This one, I like this one a lot. That was a good one. Um, it had a little more action than the rest of the Bridgerton books because at that point it's the last book of the series. I think it's the last or the second to the last book of the series of the main Bridgerton books. So by that point, Julia Quinn's got to start doing something different or else they're all too similar. And so this one is just it's insane. There's a hostage situation. There's guns. There's all sorts of nuts. It's pretty good. I like that one. And then All by My Elf. Did not like it. Um, mm-mm. I I'm tempted to make another like tier on here of hate for this book. I DNF'd it for a while and then came back to it, DNF'd it again, came back to it. It was just, ugh. So the story it's these two people who work together and they're professors. Excuse me, they are adjunct teachers or something at like a university or something. So they're older. They're supposed to be about my age. I think one of them actually says they're 34, so about my age. But they act like dumb teenagers, and it's just, oh, just there's nothing redeeming about this book at all. Like I just I went on a rant about it in the video that I did on that book series. It was just oh. Okay, so on to one that I actually did like, which is The Familiar by Leah Bardugo. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I love this one. I really like this one a lot. I really do like. Do I love romanticy? Romanticy? I'm not sure. Like every time I read something in romanticy, I'm like, do I love this because of the elements that make it romanticy, or do I love this because of the high drama? Like, I'm not sure, but I did really like this one. And then the magical system doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's my only like real gripe with it. Um, that's like, cause it doesn't really make a lot of sense. However, it doesn't make a lot of sense to the main character either, it seems, so I let it go. So also speaking of like romanticy, magical, whatever, is Wayward. I liked this one. I didn't love it. I did like it. Almost enough to make it I like a lot. Actually, I'm gonna go stick it up here because I'm like, I liked it as much as I think I liked Yellowface. Mm, no, no, no. I did like. I think I just liked it. Um, she has the author somehow manages to make a million storylines fit together and not feel messy and disconjointed and like a giant pile of spaghetti in a story form. Because there's like, I think there's like three or four like point of view storylines going on at the same time, all different time periods from the same family, and that can get really messy. Like even just like me trying to recall all the storylines, everything going on, like even I'm kind of like getting tangled up and stuff. And so I cannot imagine that was easy to write. See, next is that same series from the Pink Carnation series. This one is about a nanny spy. She's a spy who's pretending to be a nanny on someone she thinks is on the enemy side in the French Revolution, but ends up he's the good guy, and they fall in love and they follow a circus or whatever. It's pretty good. I like this one. And then next is this is the same series as Icebreaker. This is the second book in the series called Wildfire, and it's about them going to camp. It's two guy, the guy, it's one a guy from the hockey team, and then a girl from their school, and they are camp counselors and all that, and it was pretty good. It was all right. It's one of those books where I listened to it on audiobook first, and I was gonna listen to it in like a day and a half or so. Hold on, my husband's texting me. Um, but anyway, and so like I said, like whenever I listen to a book, it automatically gets an extra star for some reason. Like I don't know why. I always enjoy books more when it's on audiobook, but I just do. And I own the book, so I was reading it and listening to it at the same time. Like I would be reading it for a little bit on the sofa, then when I had to go do dishes or something, I would listen to it. That's how I prefer to read my books, is doing it in tandem. But it's expensive, so I can't do that very often. But I got the audiobook from my library. That's not my favorite book in the series. My favorite one is this one. This one is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is hard to place because the first 80% of this book is boring. I'm just gonna say it. It's boring. Um, the last 20% though is really really good, and is what made me read the rest of the like the next book and everything like that. I think I'm gonna go with, because I didn't think I ended up rating it 5 stars because of how good the last 20% of that book is. I'm just gonna put likes a lot. Yeah, I think that's good. And the next is Daydream, which is the third book in the Icebreaker series. I like this one. I like this one more than this one. I'm not sure I liked it a lot, but I definitely liked it more than this one. This one is about another guy from the hockey team. He's one of my favorite characters from the other book, so I was really happy he got his own book. And then he needs a tutor, and she's the tutor, and they fall in love. Um, it's just a nice, fun little read. Like I don't, there's not much going on other than the romance in these books, so there's really not a lot of action. There's not a lot of drama really. It's just a nice, fun read. And next is The Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I really don't like these really descriptive, weird names on books. But whatever, that's not important. I love this one. I I love this one a lot. The world is silly, but not too silly, if that makes sense. It's just the right balance of silly to where you are enjoying it, you're not bored, but you're not rolling your eyes and it's not cringy the whole time. It's cringy a little bit. It's cringy a little bit, but not the whole time. And so it's just a nice fun read. I'm going to say that a lot in this. Next is The American Roommate Experiment. I do not remember how this book ended. I'm assuming they got together because that's how all romance novels pretty much go. But I do not remember the ending of this book at all. At all. I remember liking it while I was reading it. I can't remember what rating I gave it, but I know I liked it because I'm remembering like the first half of the book, and I liked it a lot. A lot of the, it's like ooh yeah, giggling and kicking my feet and everything. That is that I think is the second book in a series, and I did not know that because I've still have not read the first one. I own it because I got it for like $1 at the thrift store or something, but um, I've not read the first book of the series. But I didn't seem lost. I didn't know that it was the second book of the series until like after I was logging into my Goodreads when I finished it or something. So it's can perfectly stand alone, I think. Next is Well Matched. This is from a series of books that's set in a Ren Fair in a small town in the United States, and love it. Love this whole series. Well, I think I just like this one a lot. Yeah, because I don't. The main male character is one of my favorites. I like him a lot. However, I don't love the April, the female main character. I don't like her in the other books all that much, and like she didn't love her in this one. I do appreciate there's the character has flaws and everything like that. Um, but I did like this one. I did like this one a lot. I could have liked it more. I think if it was a different female main character, probably. The Love Hypothesis. Um, I really like this one a lot. It's just the first half of this book is boring, and I don't really like the first half of this book. The second half of the book I like. It's the scene where, oh, this is not a spoiler, but there's a scene where it's pretty early on, so probably not. Where they're at some kind of professional like thing. I'm not really sure what's going on. I don't remember, but it's some kind of professional setting, and they're like in an auditorium listening to a professional person talk in their profession, and because they're in academia because most of Allie Hazelwood books they are, and it's so crowded there's no seats, and so the female main character sits in the main male character's lap. I'm sorry, what? That is some fan fiction crap right there. Like that is some AO3 level writing. It made me put the book down and walk away and not pick it up for like weeks because that was so annoying to me. Like, I'm sorry. What? Like, no one would do this. Like, not even in high school, I don't think anyone would do that. Like, in real life, like, they're in a professional setting. Like, be professional. Like, I know they're supposed to be, like, pretending to be dating or whatever at the time, but that's still not something you do in a professional setting. Like, them just, especially when, like, there's already, like, a little bit of scandal about their relationship because of like she's a graduate student and he's like a full-fledged professor or something there. He's not in her um, dissertation committee or anything like that. So there's really no real bias, but it's still on thin ice. And so them doing that in public, which is in a professional setting, was just a bit much for me. It was really annoying. Next is, let's see, what is this? These are hard to read. Home is where the the bodies are. Okay, I like this one. This is one of my first mystery-esque books. I I really like this one. I don't want to put in a lot. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I know I would not have liked this book as much if I had not listened to it because it was an audio book that I got from the library. So I think I'm gonna keep it. I liked it. My only thing was it was another one of those things where it's like you can't figure out as the reader who did it. Like not without guessing because it's pretty obvious who did it after a certain point because of oh, they're following this trope kind of thing. It's more of oh, this kind of predictable, not this other kind of predictable, and not oh, let me put the clues together, you know. So that's a little annoying, but I did like it. It did make me it did make me want to try more murder mystery esque books instead of just romance novels because I did like this one a good bit. Let's see, Stuck with You. This is those novellas that L.A. Hazelwood did. Not my cup of tea. Uh, I definitely wouldn't really dislike this book if it were a full book. The fact that it was so short made it where it wasn't long enough for me to hate it. Does that make sense? But all the books I think in that series might be here. There might be one that's I liked it. It was alright. Meh. But I can understand why someone likes them. They're just not for me. Icebreaker. I don't know. At the time, I liked it a lot when I was reading it, but it did drag on. It really could have been a couple, a page, 100 or maybe 200 pages shorter. There was no story. It was just scenes of them. Actually, now I'm talking myself down to meh. It's definitely the weaker out of the whole series, I think, for sure. But I did like it enough to read the other ones. At the time I was reading it, I really liked it. But once again, it was one of those things where I read it in a day or two. So whenever I read a book really fast, I'm going to rate it a little higher than I normally would because it's yeah, it was dragging on, but I still read it in a day or two. So it dragging on didn't last as long, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like it lasted as long. Yeah. Let's see. Only Santa's in the building. I do not see the names of these. This is another one of the novellas from that Christmas series or whatever. This is the Alexis Daria. I think I pronounced her that name. I don't remember which ones are which because these names aren't very descriptive. I think this might be the firefighter one. I think, which was kind of dumb. Let me think. Where are the other ones? No, this is the firefighter one. Okay, so I don't. Which one was this one? I don't remember which one this was. I just know I didn't like it. I don't remember which one this is, but I know I rated this one really low. I know this is one of the ones that I quit reading. That's gonna drive me nuts. Which one was that? That's gonna drive me nuts. I don't remember which one it was, but I just know I didn't like it. Let's see, the fake mate. I liked it. it did make me read more Lana Ferguson books because I did like this one. I like this one, and then the Nanny. Where's that one? I read that one this year. I think that was this year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was this year. Wait, where is it? I know I read that this year. Where is it on here? Where is it? I did read it this year, didn't I? Oh, here it is. The Nanny. I liked this one a good bit. Definitely like this one more than the Nanny because there's a little bit more going on. But also it was like one of my first like it's no Megaverse book, so it's a little it's crazy, man. Like it's weird. Um, Definitely not a book you want to share with your mom. Um, but it's just like it's just a little different. You know, it was nice because at that point I've been reading a bit already that year, and so I was getting kind of a little bored with just the same romance novel over and over. Because honestly, like a lot of them were kind of the same, and so it was nice to have something different. Next is Dead After After. I love this whole series. This is just this whole series right here. This is the True Blood series or Sookie Stackhouse. I think that's her name. I get her mixed up with the actress who's married to Robert Pattinson. I think her name is Sookie Waterhouse or something similar. Anyway, I get their names mixed up. But I really need to read the whole series and then read this because the whole time I was reading this book, I was completely lost because of like I've not read the other books in so long that I couldn't remember anything. And this is clearly tying all the loose ends, and I don't remember the string that was on that loose end. You know, if that makes any sense. So I really want to reread the whole series. I think this year, or maybe, well, yeah, I think this year. I think, and then read it again. Because that's the reason why I was rereading all of these books here, the ones from the Pink Carnation series, because of the I wanted to read. I hadn't read the last book of the series, but I didn't want to be lost. I wanted to be able to fully appreciate it, and the only way to do that was to read all the other ones first. So I'm reading 13 books just to read one. It's crazy, but whatever. But yeah, so like I like all of her books. There's gonna be more books. Yeah, the more of her books here. The Midnight Texas ones. Those are all really good too. I don't think I've read any book from her that I like Charlene Harris that I think I didn't like. She's pretty solid. Next is Below Zero, which is another one of the Ali Hazelwood novella series. Um, I think I liked this one. I think I like this one more than this one. Like, it was pretty good. It was alright. It was alright. It was alright. I might go as far as say I liked it. Um, Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and move this one up because I keep thinking about that one and like that one was pretty good. The more I think about it, so I'm gonna put that one up there. But I'm put that back up there. This is one of the ones from the Pink Carnation series. This one's about the governess. He's kind of more of a caricature. That's hard to say. She's supposed to be sort of like the comedic relief in the background, so it's kind of weird to have a book for her because of like it feels out of whenever she does anything normal, it feels out of character. But it's not. You're just in her head, and she's a real character now instead of a side thing in the background. But back to what I actually am going, which is this one. This is, I think, see, there's this one, and what was the other one? There's one more. Where's the other one from this series? I really should have put these in order. Where is it? What is the other one on the series? I don't remember. How many are there? Are there 3 or 4? I don't know why I'm asking, like people can answer me. Um, is it 3 or 4? I think it's just 3. I think it might just be 3. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite one out of the this series. The mini ones, mainly because it's like you know it's very how do I say it, like it's one of those books where it's like it wants to be enemies to lovers without actually being enemies to lovers. Like it wants to be able to say that in like a Instagram post or whatever for the buzz and everything like that, and say it on TikTok and all that, but like without actually committing. And so they don't have a really good reason for disliking each other, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves in books. But anyway, next is Heartstopper. Love it. Love this whole series. I think the whole series is on here. I think. I'm not sure. I think. I can't remember if I read. I think of the last two I think I read this year. So I think only the first three are in here. Next is Merriment and Mayhem. No. Just no. This is the firefighter one. Girl keeps catching everything on fire. She's just, oh, I'm so ditzy, so clumsy. Look at me catch things on fire. And it's just, ugh, it's so annoying. Ugh. And the next one is Under the Roof. Under One Roof. This one is an enemies to lovers one where, like, okay, I can see not liking each other that much, but being able to get over it. That's another problem I have with enemies to lovers is that either they're not enemies enough and it just seems really childish and petty that they don't like each other or something really, really dumb, or it's the other way around where it is like there's no, you should not, like you should not be able to get over that. Like he killed your mom in front of you in cold blood. Like you can't, I don't believe that you can get over that without it being Stockholm syndrome or something. Um, and I think this one, I think, is the one of the ones where I'm like, okay, that's a good medium in between. We're like, okay, I see why they don't like each other because like she inherits a house from her professor who she was really really close with, and that was his aunt, and they both own one half the house or whatever, and he's of course not very happy about it because he wants to sell the house and she doesn't because it's like this is her lifeline. It's the only way she can afford to really live in the town where she's going to school, and he doesn't really understand that because they're just meeting each other, so they don't know each other well enough yet. And so it's like, okay, I can kind of see why they don't like each other at first. And they do little things to annoy each other because, yeah, that's what you do. And, or at least that's what book people always do anyway. And it's like little things, something super bad or anything. But they eventually get to know each other and they fall in love and all that good stuff. And I think one of the reasons why I do like this one with the enemies to lovers is that because it's a novella, they get over it quicker. Because most books, it's like it's 400, 300 to 400 pages of them being enemies and then gradually going to lovers or whatever. And sometimes it's like, dude, you didn't like each other for any real reason. Why is it taking you so long to get over it? Like you're an adult, act like it. And I think because this was a novella, they got over it in an appropriate amount of time. Next is I can't really name the book, but it's like Art Thief, and it's a like a true crime thing about an art thief and his girlfriend who go through Europe and steal a bunch of art. I can't remember what time period it is, but it's before internet, I think, because they're able to get away with so much, and they're like one of the most prolific art thieves, and they're just two people that just would stop at little museums and just steal stuff. I did like it. I wish. I think my problem is I'm not a true crime person, and so I didn't like the true crime format and the way it's done. I prefer things in more of a story format, and I think that's why I didn't love it. But it was very fascinating. Normal People. Um, I can't remember. I liked it. Um, I'll admit I'm getting bits and pieces of it mixed up in my mind and memory of like the book and then the TV show. So like I'm remembering things that are happening in the book. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm thinking that, and Paul Mescal, I think that's how you pronounce his voice and his face. I think that might have been from the TV show, not the book. I'm not sure, but I know I really like the book. Or I know I like the book. Um, Once again, it's one of those things where like I read it in an afternoon. See, what's how you? Oh God, this is really hard to read. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. I recognize this is a good book. I recognize this has earned every award it's gotten. It has earned every 5-star rating it's gotten. I, however, don't like crying, and this is so sad. And I just don't like crying. I read to escape the world, not make it worse for myself. Um, so I'm gonna put it with not my cup of tea. It is a good book. It is a very good book. It is very well written. The story is beautiful. It is poignant. It is incredibly well written. I, however, don't like crying. I don't want to cry. I don't I don't like sad books, and I really don't like it when they surprise me with it. Um like don't like that. I mm-mm. Like I know they like put trigger warnings on stuff on books, and sometimes I wish I like now since reading this, I will look up a book and see like on Storygraph because it will tell you like the vibes and stuff like that. And if it says sad, I'm skipping it because I cannot handle that anymore. I read to be happy. This one is the Au Pair Affair, which is the second book in the series with Fangirl Down. Um, I liked this one. There was a lot to it where I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? It's like real people don't act this way, but I get why you're doing it. It's because it's a book. But actually, now I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna put this down to like it because I'm like, it, once again, it was they did a lot of stuff where I'm like, dude, no real people do this, but I'll let it slide because this is a cute, fun story. But this is not how people act. But I really like this one. Okay, I liked this one. It is about a girl who is an au pair for a hockey player. And normal hockey player romance novel shenanigans ensue. It is very predictable, but if you like that, then that's good for you. Like I knew exactly what I was getting into when I was reading it, and I got exactly what I wanted out of it. A cute little rom-com about a hockey player and an au pair. Next is something slightly different. This is Marvel 1602 or 1603. I can't remember the number. This is a comic book of the Marvel Universe set in 1600s. Loved it. They should do more books like that. Wish it was a DC version. I absolutely loved it. Like Queen Elizabeth the First is in there. She's a character, and like it's fun seeing the historic costumes of the characters. And then naturally, because it's the comic book and not like the MCU, there's characters in the comic book that I don't see in the MCU, and so they're new to me. And it was really I really enjoyed that one a lot. Next is oh god, this is so hard to read. Everyone in my family has killed someone. I loved this. I read this one after this right here because this has got me into murder mysteries and stuff like that. And so I heard about this one and I picked this one up, and I have no regrets. I'm waiting on the second book in the series now in the library because I really like this one a lot. Um, the title is exactly what it's about. This guy whose entire family, everyone has killed someone, either by accident or not. And they all are having this family reunion after his brother gets out of prison for murdering someone, and a dead body shows up, and they don't know who did it. And it is, I really do enjoy this. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I did listen to this one, um, but even I think even if I had read it as a paperback, because I read parts of it as a paperback because I actually bought it because I liked it so much. So I read this one in tandem with listening. I mostly listen to it though, because I bought the book when I was like halfway through the audiobook or something, because it was on sale somewhere. I got it for like it was like a Barnes and Noble buy two get one deal or something. So I got it for free, and I was like, score. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited to read the next one whenever that comes out in my library. Because I think there's 3 books in the series. I'm not sure, but I'm really excited to read the next one. And then here are the Midnight. I think it's Midnight Texas. It's Midnight something, by Charlene Harris, who wrote the True Blood series. Love them. I read all 3 of the books like really, really quickly. Like I think I read all 3 of them over a weekend, and I'm gonna go ahead and put all of them up here. Where's the other one? Where are you, other book? Where are you? So I did not check and make sure that every book actually made it through and got uploaded, because I'm not seeing it. Also, here it is. I also don't remember what the cover looked like. Because there's like these books are pretty old, and so there's like a billion different covers. But it's about this guy who can talk to dead people, and he moves to another small town called Midnight, and little does he know that this area attracts supernatural creatures, and so pretty much everyone in the small town is some kind of supernatural creature. He finds out over time, and they have to save the world. Yeah, it's pretty bonkers, and I love every second of it. I really wish there was more books in this series, but there aren't. I wish she had written just as many books from this series as she did for True Blood, because True Blood I think has like 13 books, maybe like it's like 11 or 13 or something like that. Around, it's in the double digits for I know that for sure. And I wish she'd write that many of this series here. I absolutely love this series. There's a TV show for this one as well. I've not seen the TV show. I've not read, I've watched the first 2 episodes of the TV show. I did not like the actress they had for the main female lead in the TV show, and that what kind of put me off on the show, because of the actress they had playing the main female character looked way too young for the male protagonist. But I think it was mainly in my head because of I had seen the main female actress in Parenthood where she plays a teenager, and then the guy who plays the main character is like in his 30s or 40s, and I've seen him in like the Borgias where he plays Cesare. I think's how you pronounce the guy's name. So I'm used to seeing him in a role where he's an adult, whereas her, I've only seen her in roles where she is a child, and so it was just very off-putting. And I also just didn't think the actress was very good, like in general. But yeah. And so I did not watch more than, I think I only watched like 2, 3 episodes tops. I think maybe even less than that. Um, yeah. But the books are amazing. How do I even put that in obsessed? Actually, it's like on the very edge. Like I want to put this at the top of obsessed, because I definitely like them more than Red, White, and Royal Blue and these right here and everything like that. I'm also going to stick that up too. Yeah, that seems good. Um, yeah. So next is Butter for Worse. This is a fake dating thing with 2 hosts of a cooking TV show. It was alright. I liked. It's another book where like the first half of it is kind of boring and the second half is really good. Um, I made it where I picked up the second book to read, and I DNF'd the second book because I just got bored. Because the second book is about her younger sister, and I think actually to take back, did I read it? Did I finish it? Oh yeah, I did. I did finish it. Okay, I DNF'd it for a really long time though. It's right here. But yeah, I DNF'd this one for a very long time. It was alright. Next, meh. I'm gonna put both in meh. Um, Next is A Court of Mist and Fury. Obsessed. This is my favorite one so far of the ACOTAR series. I've not read past this one. The third book. I don't remember their names. I just go know by the colors. The pink one. I've been in the pink one for months now, and I just can't get through it because now I'm getting kind of bored. I figured out that like once the characters get together, I my like interest starts sloping downward unless they do something happens other than the romance to pique my interest again, and they just haven't really done that in the next book. It's just more of the same stuff. Yeah. Next is the first of the Bridgerton series. I like this one a lot. This is the one I really like this one a lot. Um, I think I like the TV show better. I think. Yeah, I think so. It's hard not to love him as oh god, what's the character's name? Oh, how did I forget the character's name? Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Oh, what's his name? Oh god, I read this in like February of last year. Um, I just remember everyone calling him the Duke, whatever. The Duke. Uh, he is very good looking, so it is hard not to prefer the screen version. Next is the second in the Heartstopper series, which I liked a lot. Just it's more of the same story. Like it's kind of hard to rate like graphic novels that are like in a series because like you can read a whole book, but you're not getting the whole story. So you're only getting a like it'd be like in a traditional novel, like the first like third of the book is a whole book in itself. Like that's hard. Like it's hard to judge a story off the first like third of the story alone. If that makes sense. So like I think I refrained from actually rating them in my Goodreads and stuff until after I read all of them. Next is Lark and Leather. I like this one a lot. Actually, I'm gonna put some love. I love this one. I like this one more than Butcher and Blackbird. I keep wanting to call her Blackbeard. I like this one a lot more than the first book, and then I recently read the third book and I loved it even more. Which I was surprised because of the third book is about the youngest brother who's barely in the first two books, and his girl, and his name Rose, who's a circus performer or whatever. I thought she was kind of weird in this one. I liked her okay, but I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really love her, but I really liked her a lot in her book. So, really like the third one. But I like this one a lot. I like that definitely more than the first one. All three of them, though, have a problem of. So the story is they're all like serial killers falling in love with each other and stuff. And the first one is the worst about this, and the second one's not as bad, and the last one, they kind of like admit, oh wait, there's cops. But no, like the first one, it's really really bad, where they're openly talking about murdering. They're not really, covering their trail and tracks and stuff like that, and so like cops never figure anything out. There's never a real problem with cops in the first book. It's barely even like thought of. It feels like there's no repercussions for their actions, really. In the second book, there are some repercussions for the actions in the first book. Yeah, but it's just like another criminal who tracked them down. No cops. And in the third book, they at least acknowledge that cops could catch them, and they're lucky that they haven't been caught. And it's a little more. I feel like a little more realistic. I'm not sure, because I'm not a serial killer, so I don't know. But yeah, that was just really annoyed me in the first book. Like it's just they're talking about it openly in a restaurant. Like that's dumb. Don't do that. Whatever. And not to mention the guy's like obsessed to the point where it's a little creepy, but he's a serial killer, so like, what do you expect? Next is When He Was Wicked, the Bridgerton book, which is Francesca's book, which I think they're going to start getting into more next season. I think. Um, I liked this one. It wasn't my favorite one, but I liked it. It was a little different because the book starts off with her married to someone else. And I want to spoil it. And then she's not married to that person anymore technically, and then it's pretty good. It's near the near the end of the series, and where Julia Quinn had to start thinking outside the box, romance novel wise, and so starting to branch out and do something a little different. Next is the Night Library of. I've never figured out how to pronounce that. I didn't really like this one. The style is really not easy to read, and I had a really hard time getting into it. I I didn't really like this one very much. I wanted to like it, but I didn't. Next is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. This is another book where the first half is kind of boring and the second half gets a little better. I did like this one a lot, and then I read the second one from the library, and I think I DNF'd that one. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. And because it was just boring. I don't know, I just wasn't interested in it anymore. My thing was like, okay, so it's a time period, I can't remember what time period it's set in, but like Regency-esque, like that far back. And she like runs a newspaper that has like a ladies guide column in it that she writes with her friend. And sometimes I like that kind of storyline in a historic novel, and sometimes I don't think it's done very well, and it just comes off weird and preachy. And it really started coming off weird and preachy and kind of off-putting. Like, yeah, I didn't really love it after a while, so I DNF'd the second book, and I'm not gonna read the rest of them. I went ahead and took my name off the list for the wait for the rest of the books, even on my library. And then next is Practice Makes Perfect, which is the second book in a series I figured out, and I read this one first. I read this one in February or January or something. I did like this one a lot. I liked it a lot. I'm reading still the first book, and it's like a small town romance. And I started reading it while I was in my hometown because I thought it'd be really cute to like read small town romance novels in my small town, my small hometown. And so that's what I did. And I started reading the first book in the series, and I really like the first book in the series a lot. I like this one because it was the like bodyguard and like the girl he's protecting kind of thing, which I really liked. I've not read anything really like that before, and I really liked that a lot. The first book in the series, which I'm currently reading, is her brother falling in love with the pop star that he usually works for. And that is just a little more out there and silly. Like, I'm sorry, a pop star just breaking down in front of your house. Like, that is some AO3 level crap again. But it's so cute. Like, I don't care. Next is Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca. She wrote the, where is it on here? Oh, this right here. The Well Matched and the Ren Fair books. And this is her newest series where it's about a small town that's haunted and everyone's just chill with it. So it's like a little bit of magical realism. I love this book. My only problem with it is that the third act breakup is one of the top 10 dumbest things I've ever read. At the time, I was like, okay, a little off-putted by it, but like not enough to really be bothered because the rest of it's so good. But over time, thinking about it, I'm like, so spoiler. So if you don't want to know how this goes, just pause this for a couple minutes and then restart it again or something. I don't know. But he gets possessed by an evil spirit that's in her house, and he makes him say a lot of really crazy sexist crap that no person in their right mind would think. And it's so obviously out of character that even though she's only known him for a little bit, she thinks she's falling in love with him. Keep in mind at this point that she's like, she breaks up with him. He's like, how can he say those kinds of things? I'm like, clearly something is wrong. Like, he's acting possessed even. Like, this is clearly not him. Like, you're not even gonna hear him out. Like, he's like, oh, it was just so annoying. Um, Hopefully the second book of the series won't have that. Hopefully. I'm pretty excited for the second book of the series, actually. So they announced. I think the cover got revealed recently. I really like the art style that she's going with for the series. I think it fits the vibe of the books really nicely. Speaking of which, I think the cover of this one fits the series. I think the cover of this one fits this book really nicely as well. This is the second book in this series here. I think I'm gonna put this above this one. I love this one. Okay, did I love it? I did like it a lot. I'm gonna stick with just like it a lot. This is the second book in this series, and this is Reggie. This is this character's best friend, and he's a vampire, and there's a lot more going on than just their romance, which I really appreciate because this one was like mostly just their romance. That's pretty much all that's going on. And this one, there's a little more going on. He's being hunted because of something he did in his past, and so he's kind of like trying to be in hiding. She is, granted, there's less going on in her life really, but her family are trying to get her like to settle down and or whatever, and they're actually kind of weird about it, like very Mrs. Bennet from um, Pride and Prejudice kind of level of weird. Like she's very professional. She's has her own career. She makes good money. She's very happy with her career. Like I'm not sure why they aren't more proud of her. Like it was just because they all like her rest of her family seem like they're very career oriented. So I don't know why they're so like oh that's nice dear, but have you met anyone? You know that kind of thing. Like it was just I get it's for a book, but still it was kind of weird. Next is The Wrong Comers by Catherine Center. I love this one. I was obsessed with it when I read it. Okay, I read it in an afternoon, and it has a third act breakup, and somehow I still loved it. I'm reading the next book of hers because I got the arc of it. What is it called? I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'm liking it. I'm liking that one so far. I don't like it as much as this one, but I really like this one a lot. It's about a down on her luck writer who gets a job to help a famous writer rewrite a romance, like a script for a rom com or something. Hence the name, or The Rom Comers. And they fall in love, and it's beautiful. Actually, I think I'm gonna. Does that belong to be up there with Obsessed? I don't know if I'm obsessed with it, but I definitely love it. I'm being very critical with all these books doing this. Like, I was not this critical when I was originally rating them. Not in love, and I was not in love with this either. I think I need to reread this one because I really didn't like it. This book made me completely fall out of love with Allie Hazelwood books. Because I read this one at the same time as I was trying to read Bride, and I still have not finished Bride. Um, it was okay. Like I can't remember what I rated it. Like I definitely rated it 3 stars or less. I can't remember, but I think I need to reread that one because I recently read some reviews of it where I'm like, oh yeah, like I read some people's like 5-star reviews of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is a little better than I remember. Oh yeah, that is a different way of looking at it than I was originally perceiving what they were talking about and how they meant. So I think I might give that one another shot. I'm not sure. Next is The Wedding Witch. I loved this one. This is from a series about 3 brothers who are all witches in a small town, and I think it's in Georgia. And this is about the youngest brother, no, the middle brother, who's like a recluse or whatever, and he falls in love with the woman who's just a normal woman, normal human, who sells artifacts and stuff, who's mentioned in the first book. She like hoodwinks the characters in the first book or something. My only gripe with this is the ending. I thought the ending was rushed and made no sense at all. I like this is one of the few books where I'm like I just put it down hard. It was like, what did I just read? And that really ruined it for me. I really wish she had done something else with the ending. Like it all ends all happy, whatever, all that. But like it made no sense. The magic, like the like, what happens makes no sense at all, and it makes me angry just thinking about it. Oh God, it makes me angry just thinking about it. So speaking of magical systems that make no sense, Ninth House by Leah Bardugo. Is I feel like I can never say her name right. I did like this one. This took me forever to get through because it's a pretty thick book, and it's kind of pretty rough reading. Because once again, I did not read the trigger warnings and stuff on it. I want to read the second book in the series because it ends on like a semi cliffhanger, sort of. Like it's not fully resolved. Like it feels like you're reading like it feels like as if you're in an intermission of a movie. Like it's not really finished, but it's at a good stopping point. If that makes any sense. So I would like to read the next book in the series and then be done with it. Because like it's just sad, but it's good, but it's sad. But I did like it. This is, see, which one is this? Betrayal of the Blood Lily. I think, if I remember correctly, this is the one my mom and I don't like. We don't like this. I don't. This one was boring, and whenever I do a reread of this series, I skip her book. This is, wait, or is it this one? It's hard to remember which one's which. Which one's which? I can't remember. One of these is, I think it's this one actually. That's the bad one. It's Charlotte, and this is the one that's like, meh. But yeah, that one is, ugh, so boring. And then, see, this was the short stories of the Sookie Stackhouse. I just finished this book here, the last book in the series, and I really wanted more. And I found that she did a whole series, like a short story book. They were okay. I'm really glad I didn't buy the book. I'm glad I just borrowed it from my library. I would have been really disappointed if I had paid for it. Don't get me wrong, it is good. I think I would have appreciated it more if I had read them as the story was progressing. Like if she had put those in, like the end of each book where they're supposed to go in, where it made a little more sense, maybe. But like, there's really not a lot there. It's mostly a meh because of like, if that should not have been a book, is what I'm saying. That just like a bunch of bonus chapters from books. Imagine that. Like, you wouldn't want to pay for that. Next is the first of the Ice Planet Barbarians. I really like this a lot. I'm gonna put this. Where's the second book? I just saw it. I'm gonna put that up there as well. I really love that series. I love Ruby Dixon's writing style a lot. Actually, I'm gonna put it in like it a lot because it's one thing that's annoying is with the Ice Planet Barbarians is that they're the men are all like they're women who have been kidnapped by aliens, and they crash and land on an alien planet where the aliens there are in like sort of like barbarian ice age level of society, and it just comes off. Sometimes it's just like uneven intelligence or something, and it's a little weird, but those aliens know more about how to survive on the planet than the women do, so they do need each other, and I don't know. They are very good. They are pretty good books though. They are fun to read. They are not high literature at all, but they are fun. Speaking of which, the I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, I think that's how this one is. I really didn't like this. I really didn't like it. My main problem with it was that the female main character has a very modern way of speaking in a medieval setting, and it's very jarring, and I did not like it. I barely finished it. Like, if it had been a long book, I would have DNF'd it, but it was pretty short, so I was like, I'll go ahead and read it. I got that from my library. Now, most of these I've gotten from my library. Like, most of these. Next is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I think this is my least favorite Emily Henry book. I can see why someone likes it. I can understand that. I don't, though. I don't like this one. I thought it was kind of boring. I think this is like the only Emily Henry book that I didn't read in a day or day and a half or so, I think. Yeah. It was kind of boring. But I can see why someone else might like it, though. Just not me. Next is Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is one of the Bridgerton books. This is the one for Colin and Penelope. This is one of my favorite ones of that series because of, once again, it's something on top of the romance. Because she's obviously Lady Whistledown, so there's that drama going on and that kind of story going on. I was really annoyed to find out that like they're going on about how she's like, oh, she's bigger, she's plus size, whatever, and then like reading her description in the book, and you're like, oh, she's like a size 6 maybe tops in our world. Like that's not overweight at all. Like that's I think smaller than like Jennifer Lawrence is that's my gauge for like being plus size in like Hollywood and that sort of thing, where like everyone goes on about how like, oh, when Jennifer Lawrence first got big, they're like, oh, look, she's a normal size girl. I'm like, no, she's not. She's still really skinny. Like even I thought that at the time, and it wasn't like I am now, where I'm like now I'm the size I am now. I was much skinnier then when she first came onto the scene, and even then I would recognize like, no, she's not overweight. She is skinny. Y'all are just nuts. So next is my favorite Ali Hazelwood book, Love Theoretically. I love this one. Well, do I? I was second guessing myself in this. This is definitely my favorite Ali Hazelwood book, but I don't know. I definitely would reread it though. That's for sure. But like I'm thinking back on the story and I'm like, would the story hold up for a reread? You know what I'm saying? Like, was the story good because of the surprises that in a second read would no longer be a surprise? Does that make any sense? It's like a movie where like it's only scary because of the jump scares. So once you know all the jump scares, the movie's no longer scary, and that's the main point of that movie, and therefore the movie then becomes kind of like boring because it loses its main selling point. I don't know. I also just don't love miscommunication trope, but like it makes sense here. I don't know, because the main male character I like in this one a lot. Anyway, the Seduction of the Crimson Rose, which is another one of the Pink Carnation series. I like this one a lot. This is one of my favorite ones of that series. This is the one from the she is like the main female character is like the femme fatale character who's like a spinster in their season or whatever, and she's desperate. And then the main male character is Lord Vaughn, who is the dark, mysterious guy or whatever, who's a little older, and I like him a lot because he's not really like the comedic relief or whatever, or like a comedic like side character in the background. He's more of like the dramatic character in the background. Like I could see him owning a fainting couch or something. Like he's dressed all in black and he's just like, I don't know. He's fun. I think maybe it's like his closest thing to like having a vampire character in these books without actually being a vampire until later on when they get one that's like everyone thinks is a vampire, which I also did kind of like that book. See, this one is The Lure of the Moonflower. This is the final book of the series. I really like this one a lot too. That one's also good. Like, you know, it's ending off the series, it's tying up some loose ends. Also, like, this is the only book that I reread that I read this year where it was new to me. All the other ones I've reread like several times before. So this is the first one. This is the only book in the series where I'm judging it off my first impression of it. Next is The Courtiers, which is a nonfiction book about the courtiers in, I can't remember whose court it was now that I think about it. I think this is a Lucy Worsley book, so I remember it was pretty good. I read this one January, so I don't really remember this one very well. Actually, I'm gonna put this down here because I just do not remember this one. Like I vaguely remember bits and pieces of reading it. I remember liking it, but like I don't remember it well enough. I feel like to really place it well. Next is The Never King. I don't remember this one very well either. I know I rated it a 2.5 star. I know that. Yeah. Like I'm remembering scenes from it and thinking like the ones that are like, wow, that's really dumb. This is definitely a TikTok book. I would definitely consider that a TikTok book. It's a TikTok dark romance retelling of Peter Pan. I read it because it was free. Like I would not have read that if it weren't on because I had Kindle Unlimited at the time. So I definitely would not have read it otherwise. And there were a few scenes where I'm like, wow, was this AI? I don't know. Next is Broad Strokes. 15, is it 15? Yeah, 15 women who made art and made history in that order. I love this book. I reread this book every year. It is an art history book, obviously, as you can tell, about 15 different women who were artists who you don't hear about in art history classes. And the way that it's told is through the story, a sort of like almost like a story of a woman who is the one who's writing it, it's the author, talking about her experiences with their art throughout her life. And it's just, each chapter is a different woman. And so it's another one of those books where you can easily just read real quickly when you have a few minutes and then put away and it doesn't matter. Like it's not one long continuous story where you're going to get lost or something like that. Each chapter is contained its own story. So it makes it really easy to pick up and put down like whenever you have time. I really like that one a lot. Like I said, I reread this one a lot. Next is what is it? Something Unsaddled. They're all the same letter, so it's I don't know, Something Unsaddled. This is about my favorite brother from the series. This is the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage. I like this one. This is second, yeah, the next book in here is there too. I'm gonna go ahead and rate that one as well. This one is about the brother Weston, and he falls in love with their interior designer. Really sweet. Once again, it is one of those romance novels where their romance is pretty much the only story. So if you don't love romance novels, I wouldn't read this series probably at all. And then the next book is The Lost and Lasso. That's the newest one in the series. It is about Gus, who's the older brother, and Teddy, who is the best friend of his sister. And she's also like nannying for him during the summer when they fall in love. So it's a nanny romance, and it's also a best friend's older brother romance as well. I really didn't like Gus in the other books. I was kind of bummed. I was like, okay, I know he's gonna get a book, but I'm like, oh, I really didn't like him. and I really liked Teddy in the other book. So I was like, okay, I'll read it for her. And then after reading this book, like my opinions like flip flop. Like I was just like, she was okay. Like I was like, all right, whatever. She was okay, but I really liked Gus in this book a lot. So that has made it where other books where a character from a previous book is getting their own book that I didn't like them in the first book, I'm willing to give their book a shot. If that makes any sense, that was kind of weird roundabout way of saying that, but that this book has given me like not hope. That seems a bit extreme, but this has made it where I'm like, okay, a book is not going to suck because of I did not like this side character in another book. There's a really good chance I may actually really like this character once they're more fleshed out, once you're in their own head and things like that. Next is Six of Crows, Insta Obsessed, top of obsessed even. I really need to read the second book. I really do. I'm just terrified it won't live up to the first one because I absolutely love Six of Crows. Kaz is, I love him. So one thing about this book that I think is why I'm so obsessed with it and didn't like downgrade it a little bit is that I watched a little bit of Shadow and Bone first. And so I'm imagining the characters like they are in the show, so they're adults. Whenever I think about this is all children, then that's a little off putting. Like I understand in this world that is considered normal because of this is like a steampunk like industrial revolution era kind of thing to where yeah 16 17 would be considered an adult at that time in that in that sphere in that like level of society and stuff. um but still like my modern sensibilities it's still a little off-putting, so like imagining Kaz as like Freddie Carter, I think is his name, I think that's the actor's name, um really helped with making this seem a little more realistic to me. And I think that's why I loved it so much. I don't think I would have loved it as much if I had read it without any like before Shadow and Bone or anything like that. I'm really upset the series didn't get picked up though. I'm so upset I don't get more Kaz. So upset. Like Freddie Carter, whatever his name is, Freddie something, is perfect as Kaz. Next is the Mark of the Midnight. I'm not going to pretend like I can pronounce that. Manzilla. This is another one of the Pink Carnation series. This is one of the later ones. I read this one twice this year, so that's why there's only 122 books down here, is because I read this one twice. Because I read it in the beginning of the year and I realized that because this is like book 11 or something in the series, and I had not read the other ones in a really long time, and I was like, okay, I really just cannot read this without being refreshed of everything else. So that's when I decided to start over at the very beginning of all the books and read all of the other books first. That was because of this one here. And when I first read it, it was like meh. I really it was hard to get through, and it took me forever to read it, and it was just I was bored, and I just didn't like it because of like the like I couldn't understand what was going on because of it's been so long since I read this other book. So all the time like there are these characters in here. I'm like, oh wait, who is this? Who is this? They're not introducing them because this is book 11. They expect you to remember who this character is, and so I went ahead and I read all the other books in the series, and then read this one again, and I liked it a lot more at that point. This is the one where near the end of the series they're having to do some extra stuff other than just a romance novel. I mean, most of them are a little more than just a romance novel because there's a dual timeline. There's the author Eloise, who is like the author and the historian who's researching all these spies, and then there's the spy storylines. There's two things going on at once. Usually the spy one is obviously more interesting, obviously, I think. And so there's like a little more going on than just a romance. And then, but like in this one, like she's in the spy timeline, the Duke comes back from like like being away for a long time, and everyone thinks he's a vampire, and then someone gets murdered at his house in a way that makes it look like it's him, and the girl Sally has to help prove that it's not him, and then they fall in love. They all fall in love at the end. Next is the Kiss Curse, which is the second book in the series with the Wedding Witch. This is the oldest brother and the cousin of the main female character of the first book. I like this one a lot. I read this one in one day, so it's going to have the one day read bias a little bit on there, but I really like this one a lot. That's my favorite brother because he's like the gruff, grumpy one, and so I really liked it. I also listened, this was another one I listened in tandem with reading it, and all of the male characters in the series have accents because they're all Welsh, and so it was really nice hearing the accent. Next is, I don't remember the name of this one, but it's one of the Jim Butcher Dresden File books. It's the short story one. I didn't really like it that much. So, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. My voice is holding up very well for this. I really did not think my voice would hold up for this at all. I'm also getting through these books a lot faster than I thought I would. But I should not have read this short story before reading any of the Jim Butcher books or any of the Dresden File books. So my thought was, oh, I'll read this short story and get like, see if I like it before I read any other books. And I didn't really think, oh wait, short stories, it's meant for more of the audience that's already reading it. So this is going to be like a side character with some side characters that are not going to be introduced fully because they expect you to already know from the series. So it's like a spin-off more than like a companion or something. And so I was kind of lost, but that's my own fault. But it did make me realize that I think maybe that's not for me. I'm not sure. I do have the first book of the Dresden Files series here because I got it from like Second and Charles for like $3. That's another thing. I try to make sure that I don't pay for any book full price. So that's why a lot of the books that I read them, like you'll see that I read it like a new book or something, but it's like months after it's come out because if I wait for it at the library or I wait for it to go on sale somewhere because I don't want to pay full price for a book, especially now that the price of books have gone up. I don't know if it's gone up everywhere or it's just my Barnes and Noble. Because like now a book is like nearly $20 or $23. Some of them around that price point. Still, some of them are $18, but like now they're starting to get 20, 23. I'm like, okay, it's a little rich for my blood here, especially with how much I'm reading. Next is, oh gosh, it's so small. Mad and Bad: The Real Heroines of the Regency. I really wanted to like this one more, but I mean, it was alright. It was meh. I had high hopes for it because the description was really, really good. I think it was just maybe like the author's writing style that just like I didn't really love. Next, oh, I forgot to put this up there with the other one when I did the other ones from the series. This is another of the Rebel Blue series, Rebel Blue Ranch series. I can't remember what the actual name of the series is. It's either Rebel Blue series or Rebel Blue Ranch series. I can't remember. I don't know. Rebel Blue Ranch makes it sound as if it's a flavor of ranch dressing, but whatever. This is the first book of the series. This is the sister of the family who owns the ranch and her brother's best friend who's also like one of the ranch hands for them, who owns the local bar. This one, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the other ones, I think. But it was pretty good. It was enough. I liked it enough to where it made me want to read all the rest of the series. So I did like it enough. I'll go ahead and put it. I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. I liked it pretty good. Yeah, I don't remember it super well because it was one of the first ones I read. Like I think I read it in March. Yeah, I read it right before. I think I read it before this one came out. I think. I'm not sure. Next is the X X Hex. That is hard for me to say. This the first book in the series with the Wedding Witch and the Kiss Curse. This was definitely my least favorite out of the three, but I did like it enough to where it made me read the next ones. But I've not bought any of them. Um, I will. My thing is like I like this one enough to buy it. However, I don't like having just one book out of the series. I want to have all of them. I'm a completionist about this sort of thing, but I can't justify spending that much money on this one or this one. Um, yeah. So like if I ever like see a set like at like the used bookstore or Goodwill or something for a good deal, I'll get them. But otherwise, I don't think I'm gonna be buying them. But this is about the youngest brother and the cousin of this character, the main female character in this one, and they're in a small town and in Georgia, and the main male character is having a visit from Wales because his family is like some kind of bigwigs, magic bigwigs in the town, and so he has to come back to the town to revitalize the way lines, the magic in the town or something. Um, and there's really no way of giving a description of the story without giving spoilers. It is good, and I do recommend it, but it's not the best one out of the series. It's also one of those enemies to lovers where I'm like, okay, is that a good enough reason to be enemies or not? It's also second chance romance, which I also just don't like. Because the second chance romance, in my mind, they broke up, and they broke up for a reason. So either they broke up for a good reason, which is something that they are going like, okay, you're kind of overlooking that issue again here, you know, saying you're setting yourself up for failure here, or it was such a dumb reason that they're making sound like a good reason, and it's just silly. You know, I don't know. I think I'm just being overly critical. I don't know. You tell me. The only good thing about second chance romance novels is they usually don't have a third act breakup. If a second chance romance has a third act breakup, that's a sign they should not be together. Then at that point they're breaking up 3 times. Mm-mm. No. Insta, no. Next is oh gosh, Mischief of the Mistletoe. This is the Christmas version, the Christmas novel of the Pink Carnation series. I like this one a lot. This is one of my favorite ones because the main male character of this one is one of my favorite characters, and so I really like this one a lot. But he's like a bumbling idiot, and so like, and she is like a school teacher or something, and so it's not a very realistic relationship. Like I think over time she would resent him in real life of having to take care of him essentially. So that's the only reason why that one's not love. I do really, really like this one a lot. I love this one. Put this where am I gonna put this one? I definitely like it more than Red, White, and Royal Blue, I think. This is a Ruby Dixon book. This is her newest series. The second book just came available on NetGalley, and I just requested it. And I really, really hope I get it. I don't think I will, but I really, really, really hope I do. And so I am going to meticulously upkeep my rating score on NetGalley in hopes that I get it. Because I have a bad habit of letting books just languish on my list really badly. So I'm trying to get on top of my rating to make sure I get picked for this book because I really love the first one. It's like a steampunk kind of universe where they have an actual like where there's magic and stuff, but like it was deemed unsafe, and so it's illegal to do magic now. But you can have magic through artifacts, which are objects that were imbued with magic before magic became illegal. And so she joins a guild that does digs and stuff for these artifacts to try and restore her family's honor and everything like that. And a bunch of stuff ensues, and it's a marriage of convenience essentially. And I do love that. I do really like that trope. And so I really enjoyed this one. Plus, it's like a monster romance, which was kind of different. Because also, this is like later in the year when I was reading this, and at this point, I'm getting a little bored with the standard romance novel like model. And so, like, I need something a little different where, okay, she's, there's got to be something other than just the romance. So it's her doing like all the political intrigue of trying to, because her family's like considered nobility, and she's trying to hide her identity, and ooh, it's pretty good. I'm really excited for the second one because the second one is about her maid who came with her, and I really like her maid. I think her maid's real fun, so I'm really excited to get to see things from her point of view. So speaking of things that were different and weird, um, I almost didn't put this one on my Goodreads because this one's a little embarrassing. I think it's called Forked. It's about a woman who falls in love with a fork. I saw a friend of mine sent me a video on TikTok about this book as a joke. And so when I saw that it was on Kindle Unlimited and I could read it for free, I then read it as a joke. And it was actually it it was bad. I'm just gonna put it there. It was not well written. So it's about the sentient fork is a guy from World War II who becomes a super soldier and gets turned into a fork as part of an op or something, and then they got lost somehow in time, and he gets found in the modern day, and of course he's all confused. Um, it nothing makes sense. Also, some of his timeline for World War II doesn't quite add up. But then again, I'll admit my World War II knowledge is not where it should be because like that wasn't my area in school. Because I have a degree in history, but my degree is not that time period because I think World War II history is boring. Also super depressing. Um, so that wasn't my area. But I'm like, I don't think that happened then. Or there's a few other little timelines like in his own personal timeline that doesn't really add up. That doesn't like they contradict each other. But I recognize this is supposed to be a cute, like just a fun little, like Kindle Unlimited book that's meant to like get clicks because the ridiculous premise. Um, I'll go with meh, because like for what it was, like I was going into it knowing it was gonna be weird and strange and probably not well written. So I got exactly what I signed up for. It was also a pretty quick read. Next is Emily Wilde and the Map of the Other Lands. Love, obsessed, love that whole series. Absolutely. The second one is better than the first one, I think, and I'm super excited for the third one. Like it's already out, and I want it so bad, but I can't justify spending the money on it just yet. Because I read all these other books in the library, so I don't own any other ones, and I honestly want to own all three of them and have them on my shelf like a little trophy because I love them. It's just such a nice, cozy fantasy book. Like the romance is like my main problem with the first book is that I think the romance feels rushed and just out of the left field. And the second book, they're kind of more steady in their relationship, and so it doesn't feel that way anymore. And so it that got rid of the only problem with the first book. That was my only problem with the first book was how the romance was handled. And so really the second one just got rid of my only problem with it. And so the second book is really good. This is one of the few I think like talking about it made me realize this is one of the few book series where I like it more after the characters get together, not before. Because usually the build up for the relationship I really like. But I'm gonna go ahead and rate the first one. The first one in the series is really good. I do love it. But I'm so excited for the third one. I want to read it so bad. Next is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. My mom and I read this together as a like a part of a reading challenge thing we were doing all 2024. It's hard to say. This is the one we had for Halloween. That book is insane. That book doesn't make a lot of sense. That book, I mean, like, yeah, it's zombies, so yeah, it's naturally gonna be a little weird. But like, even in that context, it's weird. Like at the end, they fight zombies with like cabbages. Like, oh, and there's ninjas. Like, that has nothing to do with zombies at all. And like, Lizzie, like, at one point decapitates a ninja who's just doing his job, like sparring with her in someone's house, and she just beheads him or kills him or something. I can't remember. And I'm like, it's treated as like not a big deal. Whereas there's another time in the book where it's like killing someone was considered a huge deal. I'm like, why is that a big deal now? This is no different. It was weird, but like it's supposed to be weird. It was really fun. Like I don't think I would have enjoyed this book if I wasn't reading it with my mom. Actually, I'm gonna take it down from like it a lot. I'm gonna go with just liked it. But I definitely would not have had as much fun with that book if I hadn't read it with my mom. Because it was so fun to read that with her. I'm like, what about this part? Oh, yeah, that was so weird. You know, it was just, have you gotten to this part? No, not yet. Oh, it's so weird. Like, it was just, it would not have been near as enjoyable without reading it with my mom. So the next one is The Butcher and Blackbeard, which is the first book of, where is the other one? This one right here. I liked this one a lot. I did not like it near as much as this one because of, once again, they're serial killers falling in love with each other, and they're not trying to hide their serial killer activities very well, and they have no repercussions. Just about. Well, they have a little bit, but not like enough. And it's never law enforcement. Hardly law enforcement. Law enforcement, I don't think is mentioned until like the third book. Like that's my biggest gripe with these books, is that how are there this many serial killers who all of them only kill other killers? And so I'm just like, is this an alternative world where there's more serial killers, or is this the real world and there's just more serial killers in it than I realize? I don't know. Because like, I can't name any active serial killers going on right now. But then again, a friend of mine was telling me about one that was in like near her hometown growing up, and I'd never heard of him. Never heard of it happening, and though it happened for like it was going over for a decade or something, and I had no idea. But that was up in New York, and so like maybe I don't know. Maybe there could be a bunch of serial killers active in the United States, and I wouldn't know because they're like maybe not in my area. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, I need to hurry up because I need to get off pretty soon. And I would like to try and get this all done in one day. Next is I'm going to do this whole series here. Legends and Lattes. I definitely like this one a lot more. I thought this was, I like this one a lot. Actually, I liked both of them, but I definitely liked this one more. It is about a orc woman who decides she's done fighting and she wants to open up a coffee shop, even though most people have no idea what coffee is. And it's just a really cozy romance. I really like it. The next one is She is Young. It's a prequel, and she gets hurt on like one of her first missions, and so her group have to leave her in a small seaside town to recoup, and she makes friends, has a little crush on someone, discovers her love of reading while she's there, and also not fumbles, but like handles like a like the villain that her and her friends were fighting in the beginning or something like that. All right, next is the other Heartstopper. I'm just gonna go ahead and put all the Heartstoppers here. If there's any more, or is that the only one? Yeah, I only must have read the first 3 that last year then. But yeah, like I said, like it's kind of hard to rate like really rate books that are like in a series like that, like graphic novels anyway, because you're only getting a piece of the story. Ooh, can y'all hear my stomach growling? I really need to eat something. Next is The Nanny. I liked it. It was alright. I really wish it had more going on than just the romance, because after a while, like, if it were any longer, that would have been just, I wouldn't have liked it. It wasn't enough going on. Same thing here with Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. Did I pronounce her last name? I read where is it on here? Funny Girl, Fangirl. There it is. I read Fangirl. It's the first book I read of 2024, and it wasn't my cup of tea really, and I was kind of disappointed. I kind of liked this one. I listened to this one and read it in the library in tandem, and so it has a little bit of the audiobook bias, a little bit, because I did like it a little bit more, I think, because I listened to it some. But I do wish it had a little more going on than just the romance. It's not just like, oh, you don't really like romance novels then. No, it's sometimes it works with just the romance, and sometimes people can't make that work. Like this is just a romance. That's all. That's really all that's going on, and it's perfect. I love it. Let's see what else. There's another one over here. This is mostly romance. This is nearly all romance. This is all. That's all that's going on there. Um, you know, and so that's still good. It can't like a book that's all romance can be good. It's just you gotta write it a certain way. I guess I'm not really sure. I'm not a writer. Like I recognize that's hard. That's why I'm not a writer. So the truth according to Ember, I didn't like this. I almost DNF'd it. I actually did for a little bit. Um, the story premise is that she's telling little lies and stuff like that, and they all come back and bite her in the butt. And the whole time, you know that's going to happen, and you're just waiting for the ball to drop, and it's stressful that it doesn't need to be, and I did not like it. However, I did like the writing style of this author, and so I am going to read the second book in the series, though, because the second book in the series does not have that story plot line. It's normal. So I think I'll like it a lot more. Next is Assistant to the Villain. This is a really like goofy, funny, um, like fantasy novel. I liked it. I want to read the next one, the next all the rest of the series, because I think the third book is coming out soon. I think. I unfortunately just had to return the second book of the series to the library without having finished it because my time on it lapsed before I could finish it. But I'm back on the list, so I should get it when it comes back around. Next is Fangirl. I didn't really like it. I think the problem is it was YA, and I really don't really like YA. I figured out, and then that's my problem. I don't know. I did like the main male character though. I thought he was nice. I liked him. But other than that, I didn't really like it very much. Next is Do Your Worst. I did like this one. It made it. I like this one enough to where I looked up more books by this author to see if I can find more from her that I like, and I added my name to like a bunch of the hold lists for their books. I can't remember all the rest of the books of hers that I put my name on for, but I did really like this book a lot. The setting was fun. The only thing that I really didn't like was that I felt like the female character, her personality changed between like settings. Like her, I feel like her chapters that were from her point of view were a different character than who she was in his chapters, and I thought that was kind of annoying. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and do I have any more of this series here? Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the Bridgerton series. Go ahead. Next is the Viscount Who Loved Me. That is Anthony's story. I liked this one. Yeah, I like this one okay. Yeah, I like this one alright. I did like Anthony more. I think did I like him more in the book than I did in the show? I don't know. At this point, like I'm watching it in tandem with the show, and so like it's all kind of blurry. And then where's the next one in that series? Oh, and then here is wait, no, here we go. It's In His Kiss. This is the Gregory one. I like this one a lot. That one, it's a wild ride, man. It is a wild ride. There's a lot going on. There's guns in that one. There's a hostage situation going on. It's insane, man. because it's the last book in the series, and so like she's, you know, she can't just do a romance novel anymore. She's done 8 of them. And the next one is an offer from a gentleman. That is Benedict's one. That's one of my favorite ones. Oh, that's my timer to get off. I got a few more. I'll keep going. And then let's see, yeah, where did I put that one? Okay, yeah, that is Benedict's story. Benedict is my favorite. I am so excited for his season coming up next, and so I really like that one a lot. Next is the, oh god, I cannot read that, but it's a biography of the man who does everything with Studio Ghibli. I cannot pronounce his name correctly. Hayao Miyazaki. Yeah, no, I get it mixed up with that designer from Project Runway. I'm so bad with names. But I liked this one. It didn't have as much. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. It didn't have as much in it as I thought that I didn't already know. But that's not a fault of the book, really. And next is Of Walls Could Talk. I love this one. I reread this one pretty often. So it's a historian and it's nonfiction, obviously. And so what it does is she goes through the history of each room in the house. So like the history of the bedroom, the history of your kitchen, the history of the bathroom, and it's fascinating. And then each chapter is broken up by room, which also makes it super easy to just read for a little bit and then stop and then come back to it, which I really appreciate, and especially in nonfiction. Next is Dracula. This was kind of hard to rate because it's a classic book for one, but also like I did not read this year in a traditional sense. What I did was I did Dracula Daily, which is an email that you get every day with the corresponding, not every day, but with a corresponding entry from Dracula, because Dracula is done in like diary entries and letters and stuff like that. And so like if there's one where it's like dated May 3rd, then on May 3rd you'll get an email of that chapter. And it's a great way to read Dracula. And of course Dracula's like, I have a soft spot for it because my mom read Dracula aloud to me when I was a kid. So like I associate Dracula with like being a little kid and my mom reading out loud to me as a kid before bed, which I feel like is not the most normal way of experiencing Dracula, which I have a lot of fun stories about because that came up a lot in college when I did English classes because my college had a vampire lit class. Anyway, so I did Dracula Daily. I'm gonna do it again this year. However, I'm not gonna put it in my stats and stuff because it was really annoying that it skewed all of the time of my stats in my story graph really bad because of like I read this throughout the year, obviously. And so it made it where it went from, oh, your average time it took you to read a book was 3 days to 2 months or something insane, and it was really annoying. And so since I put it in there at least once, so now I'm not going to put it in there again, but I'm going to still do Dracula Daily every year like I normally do. Because like they're never like super long to read. Because, like it's just a quick diary entry while they're, running after like a vampire or something. So they don't have time to write a whole lot, if they were real, of course. So it's not that hard to read it throughout the year when it's all like paced out like that. It's also interesting to read it out because it's out of order for how it is in the books because like obviously in that time period, mail took forever, and so you'll be like reading along in the storyline for people in England, and then in those chapters you'll get a letter from Jonathan that's like months old, and so like he's like on old information, and it's interesting to read it in chronological order, and so. Next is the Britney Spears memoir. That was alright. I think I would like it more if I cared more about Britney Spears. Like, I was never really big into Britney Spears. I mostly read it because of my library had a copy where I could just borrow now on my phone. And I really wanted something to read real quick that afternoon. And so that fit the bill. It was okay. It did seem a little rambly at parts, but like I feel like that's bound to happen in a memoir for some people. But also on top of that, like she's not that old. Like I feel like it's kind of odd having a memoir when you're that young, and it's be kind of hard to really make it not memorable. Well, kind of memorable, but also like have a little more substance to it because of she's only like she's not much older than I am. I think she's like in her 40s. I think early. I don't know. It's hard to tell with celebrities because now I think about it, she was married and had kids when I was in high school, and she has like teenage sons who are like 18, I think. So maybe she's a bit older than I think she is. I don't know. Next is Love and Other Conspiracies. Obsessed. Obsessed. I love that book. I'm so excited for the second one. So it's basically like it feels like fan fiction for like BuzzFeed. And it did make me go and watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, because like that's basically what that book is about. It's basically that's the kind of show they're making. But instead of it being Shane and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember the other guy's name. That's gonna bother me. I can't remember his name. Um, but instead of it being Shane and whatever the guy's name is, it's a guy and a girl, and they fall in love and while making the show, and it's sweet, and I love it, and I can't wait for the second one because the second one sounds even better from the description. I'm really excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the next two of the Pink Carnation series. This is the actual Pink Carnation book, the first one, the one that started it all, and I loved it. Now, granted, I will admit that I think some of that is nostalgia because I do think that one of these two might be actually better than this one, but this one is just has a special place in my heart because this is the one that we listened to in Germany on our way to Czech Republic, and that made me really like this series and the feeling of like not really relief of just really being happy, and I finally found this book years later. Um, yeah, that's just yeah, that's just I think it's just positive memories that makes it go in the love category, but that's where I'm going to put it. And then this one is the Emerald, the what is this? God, the Temptation of the Emerald Ring. This is the younger sister of this one here. This one's okay. I like this one all right. The storyline's a little different, and so there's something else going on than just them meeting, falling in love, and getting married, and then also like catching a spy while they're doing it, kind of thing. There's a little more to it. And then this one is the Garden Intrigue. This one is about the artist and a girl in the French court. And this one's pretty good. This one I like this one. I think my mom didn't like this one as much as I did, but I did like this one because it was the artist guy. He was different. He was fun. He's not one of the aristocracy, so he's a little different than the rest. And then here's another. Oh, I forgot. Here we go. I was looking for the series. This is another one of the little mini series from Christmas. This was one of the better ones. These two are like I liked this one. Out of all of the one, I liked one the best, but I would not say I liked it. It's just the best out of all of these, which is not saying a lot, honestly. But I did like this one. This one's it's Allie Hazelwood. That's what I thought. So speaking of Allie Hazelwood, I'm gonna go ahead and do the last of her books on here, and that is Two Can Play. I don't remember how this one ends. Oh, that is my timer to keep moving. I liked this one. I don't remember too much about it, but I do remember rating it, I think like 3.5 stars or something. I did like this one okay. If I remember correctly, it's an enemies to lovers thing where once again, I don't know why she doesn't like him. Where it's like, okay, that was not a good enough reason to dislike someone this much. But Allie Hazelwood books seem to have that problem a lot, in my opinion. see. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do the Emily Henry books here. This is one of my favorite Emily Henry books. I really like this one a lot. Yeah. I like books about books. I've realized. So it's about these two editors, or yeah, I think they're editors, or they do something with books. I can't remember exactly what it was, because I think she becomes an editor at the end or something. It's like her dream job. So I don't know what she does beforehand, but she works in publishing. They both. Oh no, she's an agent. That's what it is. She's a book agent, and he's an editor. And they dislike each other. Once again, it's really dumb why they don't like each other. But like I can kind of see in the real world, because I get some small misunderstanding. So it's like a one-sided dislike thing on her part. On her part, my words are all meshing together at this point because I'm so stopped up. Um, and it just seems dumb why she doesn't like him. But like I can see like having this understanding and like kind of like snowballing in real life. I can kind of see it, so like I let it slide. But I did really like this one. They actually get to know each other and they start working together on something and they fall in love and it's all cute and fun. But I did like this one a lot. Next is People We Meet on Vacation. I think this one is being turned into a movie or a TV show, I think. And I'm pretty happy about it. I don't remember, because what it is that these two friends that go on vacation every year together and they had a falling out and they're no longer speaking, and she like uh, basically under false pretenses gets them on another vacation again and they fall in love. I can't remember why they had the falling out, and I can't remember if it was dumb or not. But I do remember liking this one. Like I did like this one. Yeah, something that fits. And this one is this is a short story for these right here. I don't remember it at all. I don't remember that at all. I read that pretty early on. It was a pretty quick read. I don't remember that one. I know I rated it where I liked it. I know it would be here, but I don't remember it at all. And then there's this, which was very, very weird. Not my cup of tea at all. I can see why someone would like it, but it's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. That's all. It was very weird, very dark, very creepy, kind of scary, but it was a really short read. My biggest gripe with it, though, was the style that it was written. It was very hard to get into. It was very hard to stick with it. Like, so like I would read a couple pages and kind of like realize that I'm not really reading. I'm just looking at letters on a page, if that makes any sense. Like, it was just really hard to get into. That was my main problem with it. It's really short, so like it wasn't that hard to read, but like it took me a really long time. Like, if it had been a full-length book, I never would have gotten through it. Next is Love Light Farms. I really like the first like 80% of this book, but the third act breakup made me so mad. I wanted to throw this book across the room. I was so mad. So mad. I Even though the rest of the book is like amazing, like I really like the rest of it, that that last half of the book, I just, it makes me so mad. And that's why I can't rate that book higher. And like I try reading the next book in the series and I just DNF'd that. I didn't like it either. It had the same problems as the second half of that book, and I just so I do have myself down as like requesting this author's next series, and I read the description of that and it sounds really good. So I think it's just this series that I have the problem with. It's not this author overall. This is the only thing I've actually read from this author. And then last, but kind of least, is Lady Macbeth. I really didn't like this one. I can't remember all my reasons why. I do remember going on a long rant in a video and having to cut it down from like half an hour to 10 minutes of a rant about why I didn't like this book. Yeah. Because I know one of the problems is like it's completely like it's one of those things where like they use the name of a famous character, I guess for clicks or something, but there's really the character is not actually that character. if that makes any sense. Um, because like I read that and it's like it's a retelling of Macbeth through Lady Macbeth's eyes, and like in her life and everything. And I've never actually read Macbeth. I was not that wasn't the Shakespeare that was assigned to me in English classes. Um, I read Hamlet, and then I think we also read Romeo and Juliet. I think I don't know. It's been more than 10 years, so cut me some slack. I don't really remember. So I didn't really know the story of Macbeth. It wasn't until after I was done reading it, and I read a few people's like lists of differences and everything, and I was like, wow, that really wasn't really Macbeth through Lady Macbeth's eyes. That was just a whole nother story with Macbeth's name on it. Um, but yeah, so that is all the books that I read in 2024. Um, all ranked out and everything like that. That did not take me quite as long as I had feared it would, because I was really worried it was going to take me way too long and I was not going to be able to do it in the time that I had. So I'm really glad I was able to finish it in time, and I still have time to go make my husband sweet tea before he gets home from work. Um, I really enjoyed doing the stream. I would like to do. I think I'm going to try and stream more often here. So definitely let me know. Like comment on this video or VOD or whatever you want to call it. What you would like to see me do streams of next. I have a few ideas. Um, because like I did a poll for this, and that's what one is, this one here, and the other ones was a reading sprint, readathon, like read along kind of thing, and then the other one was organizing my bookshelf and doing a bookshelf like tour. That'd be kind of hard to do because of like I'm in my like my computer's in my office and my bookshelves are in my living room, so that's gonna be kind of hard to figure out, but I can do it. Um, but yeah, so I will. I guess I'll see y'all later.